Be the change you want to see. Make a difference by giving your money a purpose, a mission to do good. Welcome to Money with Mission, where we talk to individuals, businesses, and organizations who are taking the lead and whose actions are impacting the well-being of their communities and the world at large.
Welcome back, everyone, to Money with Mission. Today we have with us Carolyn C.J. Matthews and Robert Bernard. They are co-founders of Your Smart Wealth, a national program created to help new and established six-figure small business owners and entrepreneurs grow their business profits and retire faster, smarter, and wealthier. CJ and Robert share integrative wealth strategies that most small business owners don't know. These proven steps used by the rich, but rarely known, shortcut your path to retirement and lead to time and money freedom. Welcome to the show, Robert and CJ.
It's good to see you.
Look, I got to tell you, I'm thrilled to be here. Absolutely thrilled. We've known each other for a while now, and it's just been fun to see our progress as we've gone through these different things in our life and, making money and creating what we talk about a lot. And we got into this, because we had gone through it, and it was sometimes messy and sometimes depressing, and sometimes we were losing money. Both of us went through the school of hard knocks. And finally, we're like, why isn't anybody teaching us this stuff? I mean, we had to learn it the hard way. Why do people have to learn it the hard way? Well, they don't anymore. Anyway,
I'm gonna slow you down a little bit there, CJ.
Okay.
We have known each other a long time, and that's how she talks. That's how she rolls. Let's get some background on you. We did meet each other probably 2 or 3 years ago. You want to tell people about you, where we came from, how we met, and how you got to where you are today, and then we'll go from there.
It's too long of a story.
Quick.
But we met each other because we did syndication courses together.
Right.
We were both in a mastermind and a coaching program that really talked about syndication and also just money in general. It was really, I thought it was a great program. And it created really good bonding. There were some great people that I know I'm still friends with. I know you're still friends with. And we get together. And that's one of the beautiful things about being let's just call it a tribe, right?
Right.
A tribe of people who are furthering themselves and want to do certain things, and they're kind of getting on the same train or the same path. And that's what you and I did. And my path was residential assisted living. I had done a ton of other types of real estate, and I really wanted something that had a legacy to it. And also made a really good profit. And so that turned out to be assisted living for the elderly. That's what it was for me.
Before you got there, I know there was something about you gave a speech at Harvard or Stanford or someplace like that. You did some
Harvard.
stuff before you got into, let's hear about that kind of stuff. I want to hear the quick short bio.
Yeah. So I spoke at Harvard basically about sales and basically how the microeconomics of sales affects the macro economy of, especially here in the United States. And that sales is not a dirty word. We need it. We need to know how to do it, especially as business owners, or if we're going to be syndicating, or if we're raising money for a nonprofit. Those are important skills to have. And it is a skill. Anybody who tells me they can't sell, that's not true. That's not true. You very good at selling. You can be shy and great at selling, and you can be extroverted and great at selling, or sometimes bad. It's just a skill set, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my background. But how I got into this with money was that I inherited a lot of money.
Okay.
All at once. And we thought that we were prepared. The problem was we had prepared kind of a middle-class style. This is before Google. Now you can learn so much faster. But back then, you just had to believe the financial planners that were talking to you, people that were trying to diversify you. And unfortunately, we didn't get bad advice. We just didn't get good advice for the position that we were in.
Okay.
And it was standard advice. And but it ended up that the estate taxes, which we call death taxes, commonly known as death taxes, basically put us in a position where we had to sell the family home just to pay the death taxes.
Okay.
No other reason. It was not, oh, you made so much money or anything like that. No, it was simply because unfortunately somebody had died in my family, and that meant that there was an inheritance tax to be paid on their estate. So that's what got me on this path of trying to figure out, wait a minute, what is it that the rich know, or somebody somewhere knows, or why was this so unfair to our situation where we had some cash, but the house value, and mind you, we were in San Francisco and Marin County. And so a house value there would be $60,000, where it was $800,000 in San Francisco at the time. You know what I mean? Or maybe 125. So it was just, it was these there, and there were ways around it. And unfortunately, it took me a while to figure out what those were. And they include a bunch of other things, which we'll talk about later today. But that was how I got on this path of, creating passive income and having that available to me. Because a big part of wealth, as we always say, is basically it's about cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
If you have enough cash flow, you're wealthy.
So what I heard from you is that there was an event that you didn't get advice that you think you should have gotten, that frustrated you, angered you, irritated you, which made you, and you knew that, and somehow we just know that there is another way that this can be done.
Yep.
Led you down a path, which ultimately led you to Robert, and you two formed this company. Robert, talk about your background and your path to CJ and how you guys got together and started the company.
Sure. So I'm actually a former aerospace engineer.
Okay.
And actually have 2 master's degree. One is a master's in experimental methods, which is an aerospace engineering master's degree. And then I also have an MBA. And, it was around 2000 or so. Year 2000 was when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is just kind of, impacted so many of us, right?
Yeah, I read
exactly.
that. Yeah, that's got me on my path as well. Yeah.
And he just left a lot of clues in that book. I mean, he talked about how the wealthy don't pay any taxes and how they control things, but they don't own them. And those 2 lines really stuck with me a lot. And I've really spent the last 17 years really kind of studying that and understanding what he meant by that. Mm-hmm. So when I got my MBA, I called it the Wealth Creation MBA. I studied entrepreneurship, real estate, and taxes, because I thought that those were going to, serve me the best in the long run. And then I've got kind of a long history of real estate. Kind of my claim to fame was I helped over 100 families go through foreclosure in the 2009 to 2014 range. Ended up taking over 24 houses, going to court over them, and kind of wrestling them away, trying to wrestle them away from the banks.
Okay.
Out of that, I actually wrote a book called the old title is called "Can I Keep My House? An Insider's Guide to Foreclosure." And I'm revamping it for probably unfortunately this next round of foreclosures coming. Yeah. And my goal is to give that book away to people in foreclosure and help them out. So,
get them educated, that kind of thing. Yeah, I probably should have mentioned my claim to fame in real estate was 14 houses in 6 months. I bought VA repos in 1999. That's when I started my real estate investing career.
Okay.
And but OPM, because I had 0. I was a single parent with no real job, and even though I was a college graduate, and that's how I got started in real estate. And kind of, it's a little bit of an addiction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's a true story.
I do.
But I ended up going to a sales through the assisted living program that CJ was in. My former business partner was interested in that, and that's kind of how I met CJ. And then we just realized we had such good complementary skills together, that she was really great at marketing and copywriting and sales, and my
talking
and my background is kind of the technical side of things. I really understand how things work, and my goal is to become a great educator about those.
Okay, cool. You guys, and you started your company how long ago?
It was in 2019. Actually 2018 is when it really when we got together.
When we started working together.
Yeah. So it's really come together in the last year.
Okay. So tell me about your smart wealth. Tell me what is it? What can I learn coming to you guys?
Sure. So
Lots and lots of good stuff.
the short of it is that we really teach small business owners how to make more money, keep more money by paying less taxes, and then protect their wealth
Okay.
through total asset protection.
Yeah.
Okay.
And look, total asset protection can look a lot of different ways. So, we have different programs for different things, but one of our most popular ones is, I'm just going to say it, the ones about trusts. Really, a lot of people do not realize that an LLC is designed to be sued.
I'm going to back you up before you go in there.
Oh,
Yes.
Explain, define
I am
trust.
just like on I'm on Warp Drive 11.
Get it all out now. All right.
What is a trust?
Well, hold on.
Back it up. Let's back it up.
Let's back it up even a second.
There you go. Okay.
DJ just went
Full speed ahead.
I went through for the jokes.
So look, we talk about the 5 financial danger zones, or the financial danger zones, and we call them the 5 financial predators that kind of slow down the wealth.
No.
Or basically take away wealth from people that are building it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And because a lot of us, we get middle-class advice to start with, and then, we use that same advice as we're going up through 6 figures up to, making $1 million a year, where things do change at that point, right?
Yeah.
But in that kind of financial danger zone, you're really open to lawsuits. You're open to taxes. That becomes a major issue. You're also looking at wealth draining fees, as well as accidents and illnesses, and theft.
Yeah.
So, those are the things that we have really kind of dealt with over the last 20 years and really studied about how to avoid those things.
Okay.
And
Can you do the 5 again?
Sure.
The
So
process.
it's lawsuits, frivolous lawsuits.
Wait, let me write a note on this.
Frivolous lawsuits. Okay. Taxes, theft, wealth draining fees, and illness/accidents.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
college payments might even be in there too, right?
Okay.
Like that's kind of a wealth drainer for a lot of people.
That's a wealth fees. Well, that's in the fees category.
That's
okay.
right, that's right. So those are the 5 financial predators, and we've really designed our program around handling all of those, as well as increasing wealth.
I think one of the key takeaways here, he mentioned it very briefly, was that, look, most of us, even nowadays, were raised on middle class advice, but that was for people who had a regular job. And we help a lot of people who have what we call a regular job, meaning they get a paycheck from somebody else, that kind of thing. But all of a sudden, if you're earning over $80,000 a year, that needs to change. There's some different things that you need to put in play for saving money on a lot of taxes. And also, if you own your own business, things get handled a little differently, and you have a lot more opportunities. So anybody out there that's getting a paycheck, as we call it, like working an 8 to 5, one of the things that you can do is, quote unquote, start your own business. And it doesn't need to be anything fancy. It can be as simple as an Etsy shop, and you can use things like that. Those are things that we help teach you. You could become an affiliate salesperson. These are all ways of adding additional income. Also, the other thing is that, look, you could be over 50 and having to start over again. That's okay. You can be back in really high wealth within 5 years. And if you're prepped for this next depression that we're going to run into, recession, whatever you want to call it, there's ways of helping out with that so that you're not stuck in certain things. And so we talk about all those things. But one of the big things that we talk about is people are really, they think that they're safe as long as they have an LLC.
So before you go there, I'm gonna stop you again.
Oh my God, I'm so ready to talk about this.
Because you briefly talked about W-2 income, and I don't want our W-2 earners to think that now they don't have to worry, because even as a W-2 earner, you are open to those 5 predators. And
yes,
it doesn't, 80,000, if people think you have money, they're going to sue you. That's just the bottom line.
You become a target.
Yes.
Very much
that
a target.
Nice car that you finally saved up for, boom, target.
Somebody. So this program is for you, even if you don't have a business. If your money's all coming from somebody else, don't tune out. Stay here. We're going to let CJ talk about LLCs here in just a minute. We're going to take a quick break and come back.
Money with Mission is a real estate and business investment company that specializes in finding projects that have the potential to give you a great return on your investment dollar and make an impact in the communities where we invest. Make a difference in your life and the lives of others. Go to moneywithmission.com to learn more.
Okay, we're back. Okay, CJ.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you talk
Can I talk about it now? Can I talk about it?
I have LLCs, and I'm pushing you back because I'm like, oh gosh, she's gonna scare me. She's gonna scare me. And I've been, because like almost everybody else we know, we're taught that LLC
Yes.
is the way to protect ourselves from frivolous lawsuits. That one you talked about.
Yep.
I'm gonna
And
let
we're
you-
also taught if we do any kind of real estate investing or we start a business, put them in an LLC. Sometimes people even put 2, 3, 4 houses in one LLC.
Many
Yes.
houses.
We're just like, oh no, not that, right?
Yes.
Because the truth of the matter is that, again, I know I've said this, LLCs are designed to be sued. Look, every time we put this on Facebook, we get some guy, usually a guy that's kind of sexist, but it's usually some guy that says, no, your money is so protected in an LLC, you just have to set it up right. Okay. But
Can we?
Yeah,
Can I get a word in?
yeah,
All right, great, thanks.
are you short-tempered with me? Now I
No.
feel like I should be crying.
No,
Okay.
no, baby, it's all good. So, look, an LLC has a registered agent. Okay, and the sole purpose of a registered agent is to sit there and wait for lawsuits. Yes,
Seriously.
wait for court documents. Okay, and you can go onto Secretary of State's web pages, and it's by definition that's what a registered agent is.
Yes.
So if it's a frivolous lawsuit, it's super easy just to serve the lawsuit and get it started. And then, small business owners, over 2/3 of the lawsuits cost well over $10,000, even to defend themselves.
Mhm.
Even if it's frivolous,
It's nothing to do with
it,
anything.
even if it's, even if it's just like you said, to defend themselves, even if there was nothing wrong, they did nothing wrong, it's still 10 grand out of your pocket. And we've got stories of people who were planning to open up another restaurant, things like that. And lo and behold, they weren't able to do that because all the time, all the stress, and all the money ended up going to their attorney and spending time on that.
Actually,
Okay.
a great example of a real estate investor that had this happen to.
Mm.
There's a guy in Berkeley. He had several shops, and he had a storefront that he wanted to rent. And he told his real estate agent, "I'm not renting to any dispensaries," which is kind of ironic in Berkeley, but that's what his wish was, right? I think he had a drugstore, and he didn't want the competition or whatever next to it. So, but it was his prerogative.
Yep.
And the real estate agent went ahead and promised the dispensary that they could have the space. And because his name was on the property and he was in his shop, the dispensary ended up suing him because they thought that he had promised them the space and then revoked on it.
Okay.
So, and he said it was up to $40,000 defending himself, and he knew he was going to win, but I mean, he was already writing out huge checks for that. So, yes.
And that's before like any kind of insurance or E&O insurance on the real estate side. Like, to defend yourself in the first place, he had to write the checks.
So,
right?
The good news is there's a better way.
Yes.
So if you're a high wage earner, is what you're about to talk about pertain to them? Tell that
Oh, absolutely.
doctor, lawyer who's just making their paycheck, how this pertains to them. They don't have a registered agent. It's just
Absolutely. But look, they may have more than one car. They may have a teenager driving a car.
A dog.
They have a house. They have a dog. They've got
not a dog.
boat.
Not a dog driving a car.
No.
A dog.
A dog.
A dog.
A dog, a boat, a car, or RV, an airplane. Like, all these things just expose people to liabilities. And it's not how much it's worth, right? It's the fact that even a cheap car is probably deserves more to be in a trust than an expensive car, because it's got bad brakes and you're more likely to run over somebody, unfortunately.
Like a POS, right?
Yeah.
The brakes are bad.
Yeah, the brakes are bad. So, and if your teenager unfortunately has an accident, then that can impact your wealth as well.
Okay.
So, what I teach is really simple, effective domestic trusts that don't cost a whole lot of money, that aren't complicated, that don't impact your taxes, right? And we just talk about how to split up your assets and put them in different trusts as you acquire them or as over time, right?
Yeah, but one of the big objections that come up is like, oh, I can't do that. That's going to be too expensive.
Well, I have a thing before you get to that. So is a trust like, and I'm just to put it in my own head, an LLC, a different type of entity? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes. Trust is essentially a contract between the beneficiary and a trustee. Okay. It's a separate entity, technically. So when Robert Kiyosaki talked about the rich don't own anything, they control it. Well, how they do that is through trusts. Okay. So let's say I had a property that was owned by an LLC and I wanted to get out of the LLC. The LLC could gift it into a land trust. Okay. And not cause any issues with the mortgage because there's laws around that actually. And now the trust would technically, and the trustee would own the house, not the LLC or not me personally. Okay. You can also do this for your own homestead, for where you live. You can gift it into its own land trust. The mortgage would not be called due because of the due on sale clause, because of this is my favorite saying, the 1982 Garn-St. Germain Institutional Depository Act. Okay. Put in place that they can't.
You can say it. You can say it again if you want to.
Sure.
I always do. I'm like, say it fast.
It's the 1982 Garn-St. Germain Institutional Depository Act. That's where banks were allowed to put the acceleration clause in, but Congress, who a lot of attorneys said, no, we like our trusts. If you put a house into a trust, you can't call the note due.
Okay.
Because I never knew how that worked.
That's good to know.
It's a bunch of rich attorneys in Congress. So they're like, wait a minute, no, we want to protect ourselves. So they did. And in the process, we get to benefit from that.
Yeah. And it was always a mystery to me because I never understood how land trusts work. Like, how could you put it in the land trust without, the acceleration clause? But that's how, there's a law for that, actually, a loophole for that.
Okay. So the overall strategy is to have your stuff in trusts and in different trusts, it sounds like. And the objections we were going to objections that it costs too much money.
Yeah, a lot of people go like, oh no, it costs a lot of money. Well, it's a little bit of insurance, and B, when you know how to use trust properly, you're going to be saving yourself a lot of money because one, you're going to be telling your attorney how you want it done. And one of the recommendations that we say is like, if your attorney is unwilling to hear you out when you've gotten this knowledge or to figure it out, then you need a different attorney.
Yes.
Just saying.
But really, once you get rolling, it should not cost any more than $500. I know most attorneys want to charge $2,000, but when you start knowing what you know, right, and you can start using paperwork and understanding how it works, it's very inexpensive to set up trusts. Okay. And you set them up as you need them. But like why I like individual trusts is because it's kind of like the lizard, the lizard that has a tail, that if the bird comes down and snatches the tail, right, the lizard keeps running. Yeah. Right. So if you were to lose something, it wouldn't be everything.
Okay.
And so instead of putting 3 houses in, you put 1 house in. Let's pretend something horrifying happens. That house is lost, but you still have all your other property and
you don't even really lose the house. You just that's for another time. That's for the course.
That's right? For the course. So to me, this sounds like LLCs. I'm just going to put it out there. Yeah. And how are trusts not? You said CJ that LLCs are entities made to be sued. How is a trust different in that respect?
Okay. So here's the deal: is that you can set up a trust where, in the naming of the trustee, you can actually use I call it a time machine, where you can go back in time and name people to be trustees, such that it costs $10,000 to $20,000 even to start the lawsuit. Okay, they're gonna the law firm is gonna have to hire a private investigator, and they're gonna have to go spend $10,000 to $20,000 even to serve the lawsuit, because the lawsuit starts. It starts when it's filed, but it doesn't really begin until the process of service has happened. Okay. And here's the big term. There's a doctrine of latches, right? In the
Is this your second favorite term?
is
I'm
my
just
maybe
checking.
my second favorite term is that it says basically if the lawsuit doesn't happen within 2 years or a year and a half, it gets dismissed.
Okay.
Like if you slumber, then it's actually in the Black's Dictionary. Like
Yeah,
if you slumber, you
yeah.
lose. So if you can't even get the lawsuit started or it's really expensive, the frivolous lawsuits are going to go away.
So by naming a trustee, that the lawsuit has to name that trustee, and they're having a hard time finding who that trustee is.
Yes.
Got it.
Yep.
Mhm.
We use initials. We use various forms. I'd have to.
That's part of the teachings that we go
Yeah,
through.
sure.
Yeah, and
Sure.
primarily just because there's a lot of nuances to it.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to know, first you have to know how it works, then you have to know how you can work around that and create. And really what you're doing is you're just trying to prevent these frivolous lawsuits coming up, so an attorney, after taking a look at it, sees how much effort they would have to put in. Quite often they're like, wow, not worth it. There's not worth it. And now if the person can write a check, maybe they would continue on. But most of these people, they're looking for easy prey, right? They're looking for somebody who didn't take care of, that didn't lock their doors to their car or didn't lock their doors to their house. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for easy prey. Just don't be easy prey.
Yeah. Got
Exactly.
it. Got it. Okay. So you have a course coming up called Financial Fortress Blueprint.
Yes,
Yes.
that's going to be. There's going to be one on February 6th. It's a 8-hour event. It's a
Okay.
really
It's a day,
It's
and it's Saturday.
Yep.
Okay.
And basically, we're going to go over the mechanics of the trusts. What are the 20? Why can't I think of the word? 20 benefits of a trust.
Okay.
Right. Like really the privacy that it offers. The keeping your name off of public records, the asset protection abilities, and like why, the 20 benefits. And then, like I said, the mechanics of it, how to set it up, how to start, where to start, and how to go through to build your financial fortress.
So here's a great question that we always get asked also is like the tax consequences or benefits that come with trusts. And one of the things is that they can be used quite often as a flow through entity. So again, those are all, everything's workable and fixable. And there is a very good reason for using trusts, especially if you're in the investing or the real estate biz, or you have your own biz, or you have a nice car, or you have a dog, or you have children driving a nice car.
Well, let's talk about this for a second. So a single member LLC is basically a disregarded tax entity.
Correct.
Right? It doesn't, it doesn't even exist.
Right.
The same thing exists for trusts. If it's fully owned by another entity, whether it's an LLC or you personally, it's disregarded and the IRS doesn't even see it, doesn't care about it. You don't have to file individual tax forms. So that's a beautiful thing.
So did you just say your trust could be owned by your LLC, or because LLCs are owned by trust, or either way, or
both, all the above?
Okay.
And really that's what you want, because, do you know what piercing the corporate veil means, basically?
Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about it much because I'm probably pins all over me. But yes, I've heard it.
All right.
You might go ahead and explain it though.
Okay, so that means basically that piercing the corporate veil is if your LLC gets sued, the lawsuit's supposed to stop there and whatever assets are in that LLC, right?
Right.
But if you don't have all of your paperwork done 100% correctly, your banking isn't, perfect, and your filings aren't perfect, they can pierce that and go after your personal assets beyond your LLC.
And quite often people don't have their paperwork together because it's like, oh, did the board of directors meet? Did you take a note on that?
Little tiny stuff can mess you up.
Yeah.
The other thing is true too. It's called reverse corporate piercing. So if you get sued personally, like somebody slips and falls on your sidewalk because it's snowy or
you didn't clear the sidewalk in time,
or you're going to get an accident in a car, they can also reverse pierce and take whatever's in the LLC,
like whatever in your business.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So ideally, here's the gold. Okay, this is where people should pay attention. Ideally, what you'd like to do is have a business or a house or real estate in a trust owned by an LLC, because if we need credit card processing or for banking, whatever, they like LLCs, and then that LLC could be owned by a trust. Okay, and then you could be at the end of that, right? So even if they were to sue you personally, they'd have to go through the trust to get to the LLC.
Got it. Okay.
Or if they were to sue you, your business or a piece of property, they'd have to go through the trust to get to the
get to
LLC.
you.
So that the LLC is kind of sandwiched in the middle.
Got it. Asset protection. Okay, you heard
Yes.
that, you guys. We're talking about asset protection, and this is a lot more than I think we learn in some of the stuff like you and I went to, CJ, where we
Yeah, way
learned about
more.
asset protection, and we never really talked about trust in this way. We talked about trust to some degree, but not in this regard.
When Robert and I first started talking about this, I had a lot of experience and talked with different people and, all these kind of sophisticated stuff, right?
Mhm.
When he started talking to me, I was like, holy Moses, wait a minute. Wait, I need this for me. Okay,
Mhm.
let me ask you some questions, right? And what I found out and what I realized was I don't think there are 5 people in all of the United States that teaches this, like in depth, like for real.
Okay.
There's maybe 4, and I know for sure 3, one of which is Robert.
Okay.
You can go to a course on trusts, but depending on who's teaching it, it's not the whole thing, right? It's not the big picture drilled down and then really so that enough that you can go talk to an attorney, a certified financial planner, or somebody like that, and really get what you need as a responsible person, and also somebody who's really trying to protect their money, because that's exactly, this is full circle. Let's go back to what happened to me. I thought I had the right information, but the truth of the matter is I did not have the whole picture. And had I had the knowledge, I would not have had to sell the family home. I would have not had to pay these huge amounts of estate taxes. And yeah, so it's one of those things that this is a perfect opportunity on this coming, not this Saturday, but on that Saturday in January, to really get a good foundation, so at least what the risks of life are, but also how to protect yourself from a overview. And then I'm just going to lay it out there because I always seem to talk a little faster than everybody else. Then there's a 3-day course that would probably need to be a 4-day course that really is in depth. And we do the 1-day course just to kind of get everybody up to speed. And then the 3-day course is like really where you really, like, you could start doing it with an attorney's help, save yourself really thousands of dollars over the time of your life. Usually hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So the first course, and I think it's in February, right? You said February, so I had February.
January.
No, we've changed the date. It's February. February 6th.
So that gives you everybody a chance to get through January, realize that you have money, you need to protect your money. You don't know what you don't know. So February 6th is a day to learn something new, more in depth than CJ and Robert have gone through here. And it's the beginning. It's to learn what you don't know. If it doesn't interest you after that, then that's all you got. If it interests you and you want to know more, there's the next course where you get the 3-day. And
and that's February 26th, 27th, and 28th is when that is scheduled.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is that if I don't know, and I'm talking to an attorney or a tax person, and you don't know, they don't necessarily tell you that. They're not like a doctor who's supposed to tell you what you don't know. They don't always tell you what you don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
so
here's the thing: is the tax code changes like once a day, so there's almost no way a CPA can keep up with that. And attorneys get really focused on narrow, and there's 60 different types of trusts out there, right? So they're going to kind of teach you what they know, and it may not be the cheapest one or it may not be the most effective. And they only spent like a very little amount in law school ever talking about trusts, so they really don't know what's possible. And you don't get this until you get, you're worth about, $50 million and you got a private office and then a family office, and then really things start to open up. But we want to give people that information now.
And I don't know, you might want to mention what a family office is, because there's a lot of people who don't know, including myself. A few years ago, I was like, a family office? What is that?
Before we go there, so what you talked about, Robert, about the specialization of attorneys, I don't know if people think about that. And because if you look at it like doctors really specialize. I'm a urologist. There's an orthopedist, and your orthopedist couldn't tell you anything about urology. A trust attorney, and now I'm learning that there's even different depths of trust for attorneys to know. There's different,
Yes.
I didn't know that until 30 seconds ago. So you don't know what you don't know.
And it's fun to even to talk to attorneys, because the one that we like a lot, he's like, oh, we'll set up an offshore trust. I'm like, oh my God, why would you don't need
That's
to go?
a lot of money.
That's $25,000 to $50,000. Like, that's unattainable for a lot of people. And I was like, we have a whole different way. And once I explained it to him, he's like, oh my God, that makes so much more sense. So he's looking to incorporate it in his practice. And that's, I believe, in the state of California. So, we're trying to educate people around the country so they can go to a local attorney in their state that knows what the deal is.
And do you have to have an attorney to set this up? I'm sorry, CJ, an attorney to set this up, or does your tax person, or does it has to be an attorney to set it up?
It does not. Okay, so there's a couple ways to look at this. Is that for the first couple, you should pretty much always go to an attorney in the state that you set the trust up, because there's certain rules that you really have to follow. Okay.
Okay.
So that's my first suggestion, is for the first couple, especially if it's a land trust versus I call it a personal property trust, just to know what the rules are there. Okay.
But here's the thing, you're going to go to them with knowledge already in your hand.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Because otherwise that visit is a $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 visit.
Where you might walk out not with what you wanted.
You don't know.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So by going to them with the knowledge that we teach, especially in the 3-day course, all of a sudden your bill drops dramatically. You can tell them exactly what you want, and they can give you some feedback specific to that particular state.
And then as you just make sure that the trust paperwork conforms with the state requirements, right? Then you can start doing them on your own. And basically I have done over 100 trusts, and now I kind of do them on my own. They only take about 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes to set up. I can do them for under $50
for yourself.
For yourself. I can't do them for other people.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Disclaimer, y'all. Okay. We are not attorneys. We are not certified financial planners. We don't do anything like that. There's no professional designation except for his MBA, except for the school of hard knocks of what we had to learn from people who didn't know what we now know. Would we like to play one on TV? Yes. But we have no professional designation. What we do is we educate people with the knowledge that we've gained from having to go through this the hard way, and thousands, millions of dollars later. I can't tell you.
When I again go to doctors, because that's what I know, but you have WebMD, you have all these doctor places you can go and learn, so you can go to the doctor and ask the right questions and at least have a clue.
Yeah.
I'm saying this course sounds like the place to get a clue, so that when you go and talk to an attorney, you can, like CJ said, you're not, you can tell when you're not getting all the information, because you come in there with a certain amount of information already. And you want to ask questions, you want them to ask questions, and you want to have a clue of what's going on. So
a higher level conversation, so that you can ask. So like if they say something, you'll know the next question to ask, so that you get what you need out of this. And it helps them out quite a bit, because they'll be like, oh, okay, great. This is going to be easy. We'll get through this. Yeah.
Everybody likes talking to somebody who has a little bit of an understanding of what they're coming in to ask the questions about. It's really good. All right, you guys. So Financial Fortress Blueprint, the information for this course is going to be in the show notes, how to get there. The dates are going to be there again. Robert and CJ are teaching the course. Anybody else there teaching? You guys?
Nope. Good. Just 100% teaching. There's no selling. It's basically an opportunity just to really learn for that period of time.
8-hour course. You're going to learn. These guys just touched it here. Tip of the iceberg here. A little bit deeper on the iceberg at this next course, so you can know what you don't know, and then decide if you want to go deeper with the total asset protection course. Okay?
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
All right. Thank you guys so much for coming. We'll see you soon, you guys.
I hope you enjoyed the interview and
so
are inspired
awesome.
to give your money a mission. Until next time, send your investment dollars into the world to bring you a financial return and improve the lives of others.
You've been listening to Money with Mission. There are projects happening right now where you can make a great return while positively impacting the lives of others. To learn more about today's guests or to download 7 steps to building resilient wealth for women, visit www.moneywithmission.com.